Joe Antonocci here once again. Hi everybody, I'm the creator of Joe Palooka, the first MMA comic book. I'm here with our MMA consultant, Phil Ross. Phil, again, thank you so much for bringing realism to the Joe Palooka comic book. How did you do it, and what can our fans expect? When you open up a Joe Palooka comic book, when they open it up and they flip through and they look at the fight scenes, what are they going to see, and what did you do to help make them realistic?
Well, Joe, again, thank you for bringing me on board. It's a pleasure to work with the Palooka.com team. It's a great team to be a part of. And when Joe and I first started talking about this, about taking this into the mainstream,
there was no comic book.
Nothing.
Just an idea.
Just an idea. And I said, this sounds cool. All right. I mean, MMA, comic books. What can be better?
Yeah, exactly.
You know? And we wanted to really, bridge the gap between the comic book world, the MMA world, the gamer world, and really show realism in this. Okay. Because comic books, I mean, the cool thing about it is it can be very fantastic and you can kind of do anything you want.
Sure.
But as far as the moves go, we want to bring in that MMA audience. We want to make sure these moves look realistic. We want to make sure the transitions are proper. That move A happens, that will lead to move B. Okay, here's the counter for this.
That's something, Phil, that I hadn't even occurred to me. Like, for example, I brought you in to make sure that our rear naked choke looked like a rear naked choke. But you went even further in dealing with our writer to make sure that the move before the rear naked choke and the result after the rear naked choke all made sense. Talk about that a little bit.
Okay, yeah, because you don't just happen to fall into a rear naked choke or an armbar or a Kimura or a leg lock.
It's a process.
It's a
One
process.
sets up the next, sets up the next, sets up the next, like dominoes. Go ahead.
Exactly. It's got to be sequential. And the transitions, because you all start standing up. How do you get to the ground? Well, there's got to be a takedown in there. Okay, well, what type of takedown is it? Is it a throw? Is it a double leg takedown? Is it a single leg? Well, what happens then? Did he turn left? Did he turn right? Did he go to his back? What did the fighter do? And then whatever that fighter does, the other fighter makes the counter for it.
Right. And
it goes back and forth, and you have your volley, like in a tennis match.
So this is not just, folks, when you go to Palooka.com, we have a 15-page, we call it our free view. Don't pay $1, okay? Don't go into your pocket. Go to Palooka.com and click on the free view. You're going to get a 15-page preview sample. You get to see some of the fighting. Actually, Joe Palooka, in his first fight ever, it opens on page 1 with a fight from California. Then he happens to go down to Mexico and fights a giant, right? Which we got Phil. We put him right in the hot water right away. We said, okay, how can this little guy beat this giant Mexican down in a Mexican tough man contest in a bar in Tijuana? So we didn't exactly take it easy on you, okay? So, but you wouldn't have wanted it that way, I know. So when we talk about the moves and the sequences, they are not going to just see, oh, here comes a guy, bang, strike, punch, fight over, right?
No, we're going to see guys throwing kicks and strikes. We're going to see people moving out of the way. We're going to see people setting up takedowns. We're going to see them bringing them to the mat and working the magic from there. We're going to see escapes from the bottom, and we're going to see reversals. You're going to see everything. You're going to see real MMA fighting in comic book representation.
And when I saw the emails going back between Phil and Mike Bullock, our writer, I was just amazed because no stone was left unturned to bring you, the MMA and comic book fan, the most accurate depiction, and not in a boring way, in a very exciting way. Trust me, go to Palooka.com, check out what we have in store for you. You can order issue number 1 and issue number 2, 44 pages of comic for only $1.99. That's an unbeatable offer.
Can't beat that.
No, can't beat that, right? And you see if everything that Phil Ross here, our MMA consultant, told you isn't true. Joe Antonocci, we'll see you in the cage. UFC 142. Don't forget both Team Palooka and AzadWatch.com are sponsoring Mike Macenzio. We wish Mike all the best, and of course, Phil, thank you. Take care.